You are listening to the Visions, Missions, and Manifestations podcast, the number one place for spirituality, healing, and transcendence. I'm your host, Vivian Raquel Braha. Now let's get into it. Hey there, it's Vivian, and I'm briefly interrupting this podcast episode because I've been working on something so special and I finally get to share it with you all. It's finally here, the manifestation event of the year. Okay, so excited. Manifestation Live. Learn how to manifest the shit out of your life. On February 1st, I'm hosting the manifestation event of the year right here in New York City. And if you are in the soulpreneur, wellness, or healing space, or you've been craving deep healing, powerful tools, and real transformation, this is your invitation to be in the room. This isn't just another event. It's a portal, a 2-hour full body activation where I'll be teaching my 5-step signature manifestation process, the same method that's helped me heal from Crohn's disease, manifest my dream apartment in New York City. If you guys haven't seen my terrace, go look at my pictures, go look at my Instagram. Marry the love of my life and build a 6-figure soul-led business. You'll also experience a guided shadow work meditation by Naz, a licensed therapist and shadow expert, to help you release any resistance, transmute fear, and fully step into your next level of self. So if you're really looking for that transformation, a place to really heal, learn, educate yourself, this is the place where you'll get all those tools and clarity, a roadmap to go off into the world and start manifesting the shit out of your life. And you'll meet some of the most incredible facilitators who've impacted my own journey, like Maria, who is an energy healer, Naz, like I just said, shadow work expert, Dr. Joan, a holistic health practitioner, Katie, oh my God, for all our VIPers, Katie is gifting her manifestation coloring books, okay? You know how when you color, you just get into that meditative state. Imagine you're in that meditative state where you're most susceptible to rewiring your mind and you're literally coloring manifestation affirmations. So you're really taking in all this positivity. And of course, we have Joy Duche, who will be facilitating and healing through sound and breath work. And last but not least, we have Sari Dana, body positive expert and author. So for all those VIPers, I am so freaking excited for you all to experience our facilitators, our sponsors, privately 45 minutes before the show starts. And then you'll also get a goodie bag to take home. Plus, everybody else, you'll get to experience the show. You'll get to experience the talk, learn so much, get all the benefits from Naz's shadow work meditation and Joy Duche's sound healing and breath work. This is a room where expansion happens. This is a room where manifestations come into fruition. Get in the space, get in the room where people are actually doing incredible shit, breaking the barriers, breaking what it means to be human, doing things that every single day other people watching are just like, I didn't even know that was possible. And that is the exact mission, the vision of Journey with VRD. Tickets are now open for sale. So I'm going to put the link in the show notes. You could also find it on my Instagram. You could DM me on Instagram the word live or talk, and I will send you the link there. I'll see you at Manifestation Live February 1st on Sunday. Okay, I'm so excited. Now let's get into the episode because this is a juicy one. On today's podcast episode, we're so honored to announce that we have a very special guest, Hannah Taylor Asp. Hannah is an extremely talented OBM, online business manager, and spiritual strategist, helping businesses scale to multi 6 and 7 figures. I first met Hannah back in April 2025, and from the moment she began speaking, I was hypnotized. Hannah has this incredible superpower where she is so magnetic. Her energy attracts high achievers and soulpreneurs into her room. I'm so excited to have her here to share her story and how she got here. Before we even get into things, Hannah, which by the way, so excited to have you here, if I didn't make that clear, because this is what blew my mind when I found this out. So I just I know it's like a kind of controversial question, but I have to ask.
Yeah.
Mind sharing how old you are?
Yeah. I am 29 years old and I started doing this when I was 23.
Fucking insane.
Mhm.
The listeners are going to hear just by the way you speak and like the energy you transmute. It's like when I talk to you, for some reason, I just like My shoulders relax. I feel so safe. I
So
feel
sweet. I love to hear that. And I get that a lot. I think it's the tone of my voice. And also, I think it's the way that I speak and use the language that I use. But that's very intentional. And we can talk about that today too.
let's
So,
get in. So talk to me. Let's start with how you started. How'd you
okay.
get into this?
So I started, oh, let's go all the way back. Let's get all the way into it. So I first started online business by an MLM, right? And so I owned a boutique and it was LuLaRoe. Okay. And if you know what LuLaRoe is, you already are probably like, what? I was one of the first 1,000 consultants, right? And so I was like, this was groundbreaking. This was brand new. The opportunity, when it came to me, I was only 19. So I said, okay, I'll open my first credit card and I will buy 100 leggings, right? So this was in the day of Instagram was popping, Facebook groups had just started. This was brand new, where everything was brand new, right? So I bought my 100 leggings. I sold $10,000 worth of leggings in my first 2 months on Instagram, right? And I did not have a big Instagram following. I didn't have a huge Facebook group, but I had grown my Facebook group to over 10,000 people by the time that I was completed with LuLaRoe. The reason I left, there was a lot of different things that happened, the way that the company went, the way that the ethics were. I didn't really align with a lot of the things that were happening, right? And there's a documentary about it out now, right? So if you want to watch that, you can. It's really interesting. So I left because I saw that there was a bigger potential for me with actually helping people with their online businesses. So, with this style MLM, and this happens a lot with MLMs, to be honest, there's nothing wrong with multi level marketing. There's some that are really great. The issue that I saw was that there wasn't enough information about the actual logistics about running a business. There was a lot of things I needed to learn about holding and having inventory, being able to pay taxes, having legal giveaways, right? There was a lot of legalities that went into it and a lot of technical knowledge that was not given. It was just more of selling the dream and saying, okay, just go and do it. Right. And of course, like we want that can do attitude. That's great. That's really powerful when it comes to manifestation. But the issue is we also need the logistics to make sure that we're doing it properly so it's sustainable, right? So I saw all of these people essentially doing business incorrectly and having to pay for it, like not only with their time and energy, but with their money. They had to pay back taxes, they had to pay really large inventory fees, right? It wasn't exactly what was sold to them, which was really disheartening to me. I love a business that is transparent. I like people to be able to have all the information they need to be successful, right? So I started with online business there and I grew that business. I was making a lot of money at 19 years old compared to what my possibility was with what I went to college for. Like I started college, I was going to be in a high school teacher is what my goal was, right? I wanted to be a high school teacher. The track was high school teacher and then move into guidance counselor and move into essentially like upper level uh, administration in school, right? That's not a lot of money, unfortunately, in the beginning, right? So essentially, I was married before. So having this business was easy because I had a dual income too. So I was able to stop going to college, start this little business, right? And then I blew up. I started making more money than I thought was even possible in an online business.
You
So
mind sharing that number just for the listener? So they have like a,
my first year, I made over $80,000. My second year, I made over 150. So, um,
that's a
yeah,
lot of fucking money.
it's a lot of money for 19 and 20 years old,
Mm.
right? So, and before that, looking at the trajectory of what a teacher would have made, my first year, I would have made $35,000, right? So just to be very transparent about like what this looked like, I was like, I'm making double what I would have made. It's a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of work to run a boutique to have in-person inventory. So I was like, how can I make this easier? I started looking at coaching, right? I started following all these manifestation coaches. So Catherine Zenkina, Amanda Francis, right? The OGs. This was back now it's 10 years ago, right? So looking, because I was 19 years old, I'm starting to look to transition out after before I turned 20. I was looking to transition out of this already. I was mind blown at what was possible. I saw how people could grow Facebook groups, the community that was around the groups too, and really growing the idea of spirituality as essentially a lifestyle,
Mhm.
right? Being able to utilize our own mindset, our own energy, our own frequency to be able to create what we want. I didn't really understand what I did when I started with the boutique, but that's exactly what happened. Is I wanted a better life for myself. I wanted to be able to create income that was I was working from home, I was making my own schedule, right? It's the dream. It's a lot of work, but I'm happy to work, right? But all I needed to do was be determined and have the correct mindset that I'm going to make it work no matter what. Whatever comes up, whatever happens, I'm going to make this work. So, moved into what am I going to do? How am I going to start coaching? How am I going to start doing this? So, I hired my first coach. And that first coach, and I tell her this anytime it comes up, she blew my mind at what was possible. That instead of anchoring into other people's meaning and what they thought of me, it was really important to be a self starter and to create what I wanted for myself, right? Not what other people thought I needed to do, but what I knew I was capable of doing. With the boutique, I was able to help women feel empowered, right? Through clothing. Didn't matter where they came from. It didn't matter because I sold clothes from extra, extra small to 3XL, right? Doesn't matter what size you wear. I will put you in the cutest outfit and you will feel so good about yourself because you deserve that. Right. It comes from inside. It comes from, yes, of course, we can dress it up, but it's all about the mindset and what you're creating for yourself. Right. So I saw what I was capable of doing with clothes. I couldn't imagine what I could do with this skill set of coaching. So I dove in. I bought every single book I could possibly find. I bought every single resource I could find and essentially like became a student again. I said, I will learn everything I need to learn in order to do this. There was the big debate of like, do you need a certification? Do you not need a certification? This is still up to debate, to be honest with you. The most important thing to me is that you have mastery and that you have actual proof that you are truly committed to doing this. One of the things that I did for myself was I did 100 free calls with people, right? To test and to really practice and hone in on my coaching skills. So, because coaching is different than giving advice, it's very important to know the distinction between coaching and mentorship, right? And consulting. These are all different things. So, I started my coaching business and I ran that for I want to say over a year, and I would do self love work, spiritual embodiment, and also business coaching, right? So, business coaching in the way of I wanted you to understand that you could use social media to make money. And I had proof of that through my boutique. If you have a product that you can sell, physical or non-physical, you're capable of doing this, right? Got my first couple of clients, honed in, found my niche, and started making over $10,000 a month with coaching, right? When I saw proof of practice with online coaching, I said, oh my gosh, the sky is the limit,
Wow.
right? The sky is the limit. So, but everyone came to me with the same questions. They were so confused at how they were going to make the tech, right? How do I make a landing page? How do I set up this payment link? I found myself helping my clients do a lot of this for them, right? And I only found out how to do this because I was so committed to learning how to do this for myself. I took every single course I possibly could get my hands on. I wanted to learn from the best, right? So I
Wait,
took,
I have to stop you for 1 second. So,
oh,
for the listener, you built your own website.
yeah,
You were posting on your own socials.
completely.
You didn't just start and say, "Oh, I have to hire out," because that's something that like a lot of my clients will say, and I'm like, if
Mhm.
you're starting out already hiring out for these things, it's unsustainable. You need to
Consistent.
know how to do these things.
If if you don't know how to do them, it's really hard for you to lead someone to do it in a way that feels productive for you. And typically what ends up happening is you hire and you fire and you hire and you fire. You spend and waste a lot of money hiring and firing and training people.
And every single time you want to change your prices, you want to add something, you have to pay somebody to make that edit on your website, which is insane, in my opinion.
It is. It is. I know. And I know you know this, right? Where it's like, if you know how to do something yourself, the biggest thing for me in my business now is I teach autonomy in your business, right? Of course, I'm happy to do it for you. I always joke with my clients, I am happy to do this for you for the rest of your life if you want me to, right? I will do whatever you want. But I need you to know how to do it. If you want to just jump in there and you have a wild idea and you're like, I need to get this out there tonight, right? And what if I'm unavailable?
Right.
Need you to know how to do it so that you can quickly go and make money. Because if you rely on anybody, I don't care if it's me, I don't care if it's somebody else, you are putting yourself in a really dangerous, and I'm using that word very particularly, a dangerous position if you do not know how to do anything in your own business.
Hmm.
Right? Except for sell. Yeah, anybody, you can sell online, that's great, but how are you going to make it sustainable? Right. So
Hmm.
this is the questions that I get from my clients when I started my online business management business is how am I going to how do I do this stuff, right? So I do it for them and then I saw, people need way more help than what I'm able to do with just coaching, right? Because coaching is a certain skill set. I still use that skill set in my online business management business, but it is mostly let me get your tech right. Let me help and support you to exactly what you said. Understand what you need so that you can hire properly, so that you are able to scale. Because if you're stuck not doing things and not having any type of mastery, it's really difficult to scale, right? Have a sustainable business. I always tell people we're building something that lasts, if you wanted it to, generations, right? But if you're looking for a fast little cash grab where you're in and you're out, I'm going to do coaching and then I'm not, you're not creating any type of stability. You're not creating actual community. It's going to be really difficult for you to scale and make the money that you want long term, right? So
Hmm.
you can't go on and blow up and leave, right? Sure, go ahead. Who wants to do that? If you're in this for the long term, if you want to actually grow something that is, I mean, you can do incredible things with a coaching business. You can change people's lives forever, forever, right? You can change their relationships, you can change their mindset. Changing things for other people with, of course, they're doing it themselves, but being an accelerant for them to do that is such a gift. We sometimes online, you're in a bubble and you kind of take it for granted. This is life-changing work,
Hmm.
right? Some people live their whole lives without doing any type of personal development work. And you see, looking back, wow, there's opportunities here that you would have taken that you might not have um, if you weren't in the right mindset,
Correct.
right? So being able to do this and have this type of business is a gift, to be honest. So, yeah, I started my online business management business and I've helped people. I mean, before COVID, right? So before the big boom of like everybody's working online, I had been doing this for a while. So to be able to see the shifts in the online space too over the past 10 years, from boutique to coaching to online business management, it's been amazing. It's been incredible. And I mean, it's definitely been a journey. So starting back when I was 22 years old, that was a really big question for people of like, but how do you know what you're talking about? How do
Mm.
you know what you're talking about? My age had always been like a secret. Um, I made a big post when I was 23 too. And I made a post on my Facebook because a lot of people didn't know that. I was like, I'm 23. I love beer. I curse like a sailor and I help people make millions of dollars online. Right. A lot of my um, people that I knew in high school too would look at what I was doing. They're like, I don't understand what you do. I don't believe that you do what you're saying you're doing, right? The big, like, quote unquote, you're probably scamming people, right? I'm like, well, if you ask my clients to share their bank accounts, they're actually that cocky that they would. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
Like, they're
know.
happy to.
There's something that shifts. Like I just right before this got off a call with a client and she's like, so I need to start this conversation just by saying I made $30,000 in the month and week that we've been working together. In the week
Wow.
we've been working together, I made $30,000 in my business. And like when you make that kind of money and it's new to you, like when $30,000 is your new norm per month, You are so happy and excited that you don't give a fuck. Like you'll post it on your social media. Like you're so, I don't want to say egoic, but it's like you're also just proud of yourself.
Of
And you're like,
course.
holy shit, this is possible. If 30K a month is possible, I could double this easily. So
Definitely. Right.
I
And
know.
this is what, like being a school teacher, making anywhere from like 34 plus $1,000 a year, making that in a month, right? Life changing. And it feels when you're looking at it from a different perspective, if you're not doing any type of, if you're not doing this type of work, if you're not in this world, you look at that and you say, what are you talking about?
No.
That
It's
is
like
not
Matrix
possible.
energy.
Right. Right. You're like, no way. I'm like, it's possible. I see it every single day. I see people making more than that, a lot more than that. Right. So, what's possible in online learning too? This is what people don't understand is that this industry has a lot of money in it too.
A lot
So,
of money. Wait, one thing before we continue. Just because I want to blow our listeners' minds away, when we say a lot of money, let's put a like a range. Let's say like about X amount so that they could like see these
oh,
numbers in their head. Okay.
I have seen people who have made consistent over $100,000 per month, right? That's first. But then we have other upper level earners who are making $200,000, $350,000
Per month.
per month, not per year, per month. So this is multiple millions of dollars online. When we're thinking about the percentage of people who make this type of money, right? We're typically talking about through investments. We're talking about they're working as like really large CEOs of companies. This is self-started women-owned businesses that we're talking about right now, making $100,000 per month, making $300,000 cash in a launch,
Mhm.
right? This is crazy, but it's also 100% possible. This is what I've followed a coach for a long time. I worked with her, and she just always said, rich women will change the world. So if we're capable of making more women better resourced, the world is going to be a better place. If you believe that, you'll celebrate women's wins. You won't sit there and say that's not possible.
Or it only happens for her because of A, B, and C, which is also why I wanted to talk a little bit about your own upbringing and background so people can see like anyone. There is so yeah, let's get into that for a
Yeah.
second.
Please. I came from a single mother. My dad died when I was younger, when I was 5. My mom worked long shifts at a hospital. We lived in our same childhood home, right? Um, I don't even know how to express what level of income we were at because she did what she could. You know what I mean? I'm so proud of my mom for working the way that she did, knowing what she went through, and now being an adult and now being a mother myself, right? That's new this year.
This is
See,
new. Just now,
thank you.
just now, we gave a money.
It just happened. Uh, Seeing that and seeing what she was capable of doing for us was such a, honestly, a mind fuck, right? Because being a single mom, being raised by a single mom, having different opportunities that were just different than other people. I had friends who their parents were extremely successful, right? I feel really lucky that, and I want to use that word lucky, right? I feel lucky that I was connected with the friends that I had when I was in middle school, high school, because I got to experience a lot of things, but not because of my own self, if that makes sense. So going to college was a really big stretch for me too. Um, I bought all my own cars growing up, and they were always my first car. It was like a 1996, so it was the same age as me.
I love that though. I love that.
So, um, being able to, I had a job starting at 15 where I got dropped off. I worked at a pizza place. I always worked in the food industry all through high school too, so that I could have any kind of money to do anything, right? Whether that was go and buy shoes or to put gas in my car. That it was me by myself, right? And so going to college, I went to college, and I did have some scholarships, and I did have some Florida, like we have like a little like prepaid plan that my mom paid into every single month that compiled and got interest, so I was able to use some of that. But I had to go and get a job to be able to pay for the rest, for room and board. It was a requirement for me to stay on campus, so I had to come up with like $8,000. I'm like, I don't have $8,000. I don't even know how to get $8,000 right now, right?
Isn't it so funny to think about the first time you heard $8,000 and we're like, whoa, huge number. And now like being like $8,000 toilet paper money.
Right. Like I would, that's no problem, right? It's like I'd happily invest that into myself, into my education, right? So, but no, seeing that bill, oh my gosh, I was like, because I graduated at high school at 17 and went to college like right when I turned 18. So I was shocked. I said, what am I even going to do? I went on Indeed. I went off because I applied to every single restaurant job I possibly could, but I nobody wanted to hire me. I was like, I promise you I have God 4 years of experience, right? For 3 years because I worked at 15. So 15, 16, 17, and now I just turned 18. I'm ready to work in a real restaurant. Nobody would hire me in town. So I found a job at a call center and they hired me on the spot, right? Of course. Like if anybody's ever done call center work, this is like it's grueling. It is grueling. It is not fun. You know what I mean? People are angry. They're calling in because they're not happy. Nobody calls in to say thank you. We'll just say that. You know what I mean? So I got this call center job and they, I mean, they called me into the office. They said, we love the way that you handle your calls. Let's move you to escalation. So I got my first pay bump. I said, awesome, right? I love a little, God, I think it was like $13 an hour. That was the pay bump. I was like, hell yeah. Yes, this is what I'm looking for, right? Um, then they called me back in the office. I'm like, I'm getting fired. There's no way that I've been called in the office this many times, right? They're like, you are so good on escalations. We want you to move into essentially a team lead position, right? Where I was leading my team and I listened to their calls and I would coach them, right? I didn't know what
Mm.
coaching was at the time. Mind you, I am only 18 years old. Okay. And this is so funny. It's so cute looking back. I'm so sweet. My boss at the time said, okay, and like this is your salary. We're going to give you a salary. Does this sound good? Right. So I didn't know I could negotiate. I had no idea what was going on. I said, how much is that per hour? And he said, mm-mm, that's not how this works. And I said, oh, got it. I didn't know that salary meant and it wasn't hourly. I had no idea what was going on. Um, the only way that they found out that I was 18 was we were all in, it was a big celebration. It was after the holidays. Holidays were always our busiest time. We'd be open 24 hours a day, right? So big celebration. They're like, let's go out to drinks. Let's go. I'm like, okay, like you guys have fun. I can't go. They're like, why? And I said, I am 18 years old. My boss, he slammed the door shut. He said, please, we're not allowed to even talk about this, right? Like how old people are. That's not something you're allowed to do in this type of corporate environment. He said, please don't let people know this. I said, that's fine. I won't. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm 18 years old and I'm leading a team and I'm coaching these people to essentially like actual we saw less churn on my team. People weren't quitting as often. This was a big problem in the company was that people would get hired and they'd leave or get fired because the job was grueling. It was not fun and it wasn't very rewarding, right? But having somebody who actually cares about you and cares about your well-being, you see the difference in the way that you have your employees show up, right? So, yeah, I had to pay for my own college and had this really interesting job, and it was really worth it to me because it gave me that like beginning stepping stone to what coaching was, and I
Mm.
didn't even use it for a while, right? Because I went right into the boutique after that. But then I went into coaching and I'm like, I did corporate coaching, right? Like we were trained on how to corporate coach. So at 18 years old, I had already gotten some training on what coaching actually looked like, which was really interesting.
This is huge. This is huge. It's so funny because I was sitting with you in April and we were like talking about my business, my plans.
Mhm.
For a moment, like you were talking, I'm just like, 1 second. How old are you?
You did.
And like you told me how old you were. I'm like, you're younger than me? Like what? You do. You have And I can see why you were so good at the call job because you have a very common voice. And every single time I've had session with you, you have this way of just like really soothing someone.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's where you started. Then you end up coaching. Now you coach, I want to say like you coach, but you also help businesses with the back end stuff for like coaches who are making millions of dollars.
Mhm.
Millions of dollars.
Dollars, millions of dollars. I also help in-person businesses too. It's really fun, the array of businesses that I get to help. I also still help beginners too, right? Like I have a whole membership that's essentially for beginners. It's important for me to be able to support everyone at every level because I've been there, right? It's really easy for me to relate back to where you first start to where you want to go, right? It keeps me, in my own opinion, feels really current and relevant to what entrepreneurs are dealing with too, because I work with everybody, right? So from starting your business, you want to get it off the ground, you want to understand what this language even is. I get that, right? Because when you start, you're like, what is everybody talking about? What do you mean funnels? What do you mean tech stack? What do you mean systems? What do I even need? I feel like I'm wasting my money on all this stuff. They follow what somebody says, and it's not actually correct for what their business needs. That's really important too, is everyone's business is different. And also what you can actually withhold is really important too. If I'm not going to put you on a really high tech system if really that is so overwhelming to your nervous system that you're not going to log in, you're not going to use it, you're going to reject it at every turn. It's going to actually cost you more money, and you're probably not going to book as many clients or make as many sales because you're resistant to the whole process,
A
right?
hundred percent. I see this a lot. Yeah.
Right? Where it's like you've just like created the most overwhelming system for yourself. Of course, you don't want to go in there, right? Um, you don't want anything to do with that. So picking systems that are actually correct for the type of business and the type of person is really important. And then when you grow your business and then you're making millions of dollars, we're in a different league, right? Now we're talking about client management. Now we're talking about mindset management is a lot of it too, is being
Hiring.
hiring, firing, organizing, creating systems that actually work. And it's a lot of testing, to be honest, of like, how can we stay cutting edge? How are we supporting our clients and continuing journeys with us? How are we creating an ecosystem, right? We want to do that in the beginning too, but honestly, in the beginning, the most important thing is to get started and to start getting some of those clients, right? Start to get some of that proof for yourself too, that you're capable of doing exactly what you know you're capable of doing. It's really important to practice your craft. So that's something that I see a lot is people get discouraged in the beginning and you just need to be coaching, right? If you want to be a coach, you need to coach. Um, I forget what I read. It was some book, but essentially it was like, if you want to be an artist, you need to paint. If you want to be a singer, then you need to be singing. You know what I mean? If you want to be the best salesperson, then sell, right? This is the
It's so
question.
funny because like I'll have like people who are like, I want to be the best salesperson, and let's say in like New Orleans, I don't know, making,
Sure.
and then like they don't know how to open their mouths and ask for the sale. They get stuck. They're like, but they might think I'm mean, but they know me, but they might think that I'm pushy, but they might think that I'm cringe. Like I posted yesterday, like people call me cringe. I say it's alignment and I do it again without hesitation. I'll do it on repeat.
Mhm.
My question for you, Hannah, right now is, okay, how did you not only sustain your business, but scale, grow your business
Mhm.
to multi six figures and help other people with multi six and seven figures while getting remarried and having a baby? Because another thing, another like objection I get from a lot of people, they're like, well, how am I going to work when I have three kids running at home? Or how am I going to work when I have to be a wife and a mom and I have
Mhm.
other responsibilities? How am I going to make money? So I really think you're the perfect person to answer this question.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Well, because this is still, and I will be very transparent, this is still new to me, right? But seeing and feeling, this is what I've been telling everyone. I conceptually understood what it meant to be a mom in business, that you have children, that's your whole life, right? It's true. Once you have a baby, your life radically changes. Your priorities are different too, right? I conceptually knew this, but being able to now experience it for myself, it's completely different. And I understand now, and you see both sides of the coin of people who are child free. And they say, well, when somebody has a kid, it becomes their whole life and it's all they talk about and it's their whole personality. And then you become a mom and you see, I'm so proud of myself for being a mom. There's so much that goes into it. Time is different, right? And so I was having a conversation with another mom. I now get why people would get so angry when somebody online would say, some bro marketer, well, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day. That's not true. It's not. So, parents, mothers, they become time shifters. What you're capable of getting done in a day is nothing short of miraculous, right? What you're capable of doing, if you are a working mother, whether it's a business, you're working a job, I don't care, you are incredible, right? Being able to hold all of this, it really comes down to clear boundaries, right? So, setting boundaries with your clients, setting boundaries with yourself, asking and receiving support, right? So receiving is the biggest piece. It's being able to not only ask, but actually receive that help. Even through my pregnancy too, right? Getting married, getting remarried, and prioritizing relationship. This taught me a lot about, running a business that is holistic, that actually supports my life and what I wanted to create.
And
Because
sustainable and
yeah,
sustainable.
sustainable. I used to have the old story of if my business is doing well, my relationship isn't doing well. If my relationship is doing well, then my business isn't doing well,
Mm.
right? A lot of people see this in different pockets and areas of their life of, well, if I'm prioritizing this, this is what my focus is on, and this is what's doing well. But that means that I'm not focusing on this, right? Give yourself the opportunity to be multifaceted. Everybody is. You don't have to be perfect in all the places all the time, right? The scales consistently shift of where you're actually needed. It needs to be in alignment with you. That's what's going to help you to actually scale your business and have the best relationship, right? Because anybody who knows me knows, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with my husband, right? Like he is the best, sweetest, most incredible person in the world. He treats me so perfectly, incredible. He's a gift. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without him, to be honest. Like to be the best mother that I can be, to be a good partner too, because we have constant open communication. It's incredible what we've been able to create and continue to cultivate over the years. We've been together for almost 6 years now, right? Literally at the end of this month, December 28th, it'll be 6 years together. So he is such an angel, but also we've worked towards having an incredible relationship, right? So being a good partner, being a good wife comes down to constant communication, right? Honest communication of where you are allowed to ask for more on both ends, right? This is a conversation we have a lot is it's not that I'm unhappy with what you're giving me already. I'm grateful, but I need more. I'm
Mm.
allowed to ask for more, right? I'm allowed to ask for more in all areas of my life. So that's in relationship, that's in my business. That does not mean I'm not grateful for what I already have, that I'm not grateful for what we've already created, right? So having that distinction is so important because it allows you to continue to receive, right? I look at it as like a compounding factor of more, more, more. Yes, this is so good. I love this. More, please. So being able to scale your business as a mother, to be honest with you, finding that foundation and then being able to hire, like I said, asking for help, receiving help, and allowing yourself to be clear of what you're capable of doing and what you're not. Because if you are already a mother and you are launching or starting growing a business, that's one thing. If you have a business and then you have a baby, it's a different thing too. So
Very different.
it's very different, right? You're not working at the same capacity you could before. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just different, right?
I
Uh,
know. Yeah.
you have to allow it to be different. It's such, again, that mindset piece is so important to allow yourself to allow it to be enough.
Hmm. When you are already a mom, you kind of know your routine to begin a new business.
Mhm.
which is incredible. And I think most mothers don't realize it's a superpower because they're like, what do you mean? I'm a mom. I can't also do. But you know already which hours of the day are your hours versus being a
Mhm.
mom hours.
Mhm.
Um, but I think support, what you said around support is huge. I know for me personally, like I've already hired a full-time nurse to watch the baby, and I'm okay knowing that I'm not going to be as present as I would love to be for my kids because
Mhm.
my business is so important to me.
Mhm.
Will I still be very present? Yes,
Yeah.
just not, it's not going to be my only job. And I think what's so incredible about women is that we have the space and the superpower to be more than one thing. And I think we forget this. Like, really simply put, you're not just a wife, you're a daughter, you're a sibling, you're a friend. Like, you are so many things that you don't even already realize. You could also be a business owner, you know?
Yeah, mom and business owner. Well, also children of working moms, they see their moms feel really confident. They see their moms determined. They see their moms creating something that makes them feel fulfilled, right? A lot of working moms, if you have the privilege of working something that you love, it's going to trickle back into your kids,
100%.
right?
I give them
So
confidence.
there's nothing wrong with working mom. There's superpowers in all every choice, right? But that's the beauty of this is that every parent we get the choice of what we're wanting to do,
Mm.
right? Sometimes it feels like it doesn't. We don't have a choice, right? Trust me, I understand that too, where it's like, I have to do this. I have to get this done. I have to work this way. I have to work these hours. Um, Something that I'm working with right now is I get to do this. I
Mhm.
get to work these hours. I get to do this for myself, for my family, for his lifetime, right? This is an opportunity for me instead of have I get,
Oh,
right? So, right. So again, mindset shifts to be able to create more ease and a little bit of softness, right? Instead of the have and the it can be rough. You know what I mean? So that's also the truth is I feel like being a new mom, now seeing the other side of like parenthood and actually seeing what that looks like in running a business, there's times where your mindset is the only thing you have. Where you're like, what is going on? Hold on tight. You know what I mean? But it's anybody who has children, it's one of the most beautiful things. And it's an experience that you can't describe unless you're in it. Right. Like, and like I said, I started this, I conceptually understood. I would have never been able to really understand until I became a mom.
mm. So going into 2026,
Mhm.
what are your big manifestations and visions and missions for your business?
I love this question. Okay, so I have two things that are happening at once, right? And it's funny because I've been having conversations with people. I don't know if anybody resonates with this too, but the past year, right? Yes, we're still getting the downloads, we're still getting information, but this past month, like the end of the year, the floodgates have opened, right? Like everything is dropping in. It is time to shift. We are moving into the new year. This new year is a really powerful year. If you follow numerology, it's a one. If you follow Chinese, it's astrology. We're looking at this is the year of the horse too. This is a powerful year. We have a lot of opportunity here, energetically. And even if you don't follow anything, just feel into what you feel, right? Like feel the shifts. So I have two things happening I'm really excited about. Number one, when I first started my business, the idea of the business is fun. Let's go back. Let's like rewind again. I owned the boutique and then I was a nanny too. Okay. So I didn't even mention this. So while I was running the boutique, I was also a nanny because I was like, why not? Right? Like I'm running this online business. All I do is post inventory and do sales. Like I'm not doing anything all day. So, and I was like just shipping orders essentially because I was shipping, I was ordering inventory, I was hanging the clothes, etc. But while I was nannying, I, first of all, loved being a nanny. That was one of my favorite jobs. I needed something to kind of take the edge off of me launching my new business because I was like, I'm tapering off of the boutique. I want something to help me feel sustained. And I'm launching this coaching business, right? So I need time to like learn. I need time to educate myself. So to be able to do that, I was nannying. I would listen to this podcast while I was walking the baby. I had the same routine every single day. Me and this baby, we would walk to the park. He'd be in his little stroller, and I would listen to my podcasts, right? So this podcast, I swear to God, I don't even, this is the worst part about me though, is I don't remember the names of things to reference. So it's like, I wish I could. I've mentioned multiple quotes and books. Like, yeah, I get all this information. I don't remember where it comes from. Okay. I just know it's not from me. So I listened to this podcast. It was incredible. They were short little episodes, right? But they'd interview people and I loved the interviews. It was not about the host, right? That was really important to me. Like I loved the host. I thought she was amazing. She was incredible. I loved the way that she interviewed. I loved the questions that she asked. The the rapport that she created with the people that were on the podcast was amazing. The stories of the guests were life changing to me. Hearing people go from nothing to creating $1 million businesses, um, from going from divorce to falling in love again, right? Like all of these really big stories that just felt impossible to me at the time, to be honest with you, uh, changed my life. So I'm like, what if I did that in the coaching industry now? Right. I don't know anything like this. I want them to be short. Now that I'm a mom, I'm like, you know what? You have 15 minutes when you're washing bottles. You have 15 minutes when you're walking to the park. You have 15 minutes when you're driving up the kids to school. You know what I mean? You have 15 minutes. We can find 15 minutes typically, um, today or tomorrow. You know what I mean? It depends. Maybe not today, but tomorrow we can find it. So starting this podcast where I can interview, and I literally, I'm not even joking you. I sat down, I got this idea. I was like, okay, I want multiple episodes a week. The first year, I want 1 million downloads, right? Like, this is a huge, outlandish goal, to be honest. And I love that. I said, why not? Let's see what happens. But I sat down and I started writing names that came to my mind. I'm like, who do I want on the podcast? Who do I want to talk to? Who do I want to interview? Who has a story that I really feel like my audience and their audience can hear something powerful, right? Because if we put somebody on the spot for 15 minutes, let's isolate the power of the story, right? What does feminine leadership really look like? So to be able to have these conversations, whew, I said, yeah, this is it. I came up with a list of over 100 people. It
Wow.
took me less than an hour. I said, okay, so that's number one, right? Number
Love
two,
that.
because I'm a mom, setting up some of my passive courses where people, if you want to learn how to become an OBM, I'm happy to teach you. There's enough room for everybody. I try to tell everybody this all the time is like, if you want to learn how to do this type of tech work for people, this type of strategy work to hold high-end coaches to be able to create, I mean, if you want a six-figure business, this is a relatively simple pathway to that, to be honest, if that's your style, right? Some people want to be coaches, some people want to write books, some people enjoy supporting other businesses. It just depends on your vibe, right? If that's your vibe, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it, right? I've run multiple masterminds around this too. So it's like I had all the resources. I said, let's just put everything together and update the course videos. Here you go. Go and be an OBM. You know what I mean? The last piece that I'm working on with the coach is just the certification process so that they have the option to become certified, right? Which is really cool. I said that's my goal for the year. And it's so funny that once I put my mind to it, the list of 100 names came to me. The coach who had the certification process came to me, right? All I needed to do was say, this is what I want to do. And I swear, it's like magic. Let's go.
Okay, what is your astrological trio?
I am a Leo sun, Gemini moon, Libra rising.
Holy shit. I am a Leo sun, Gemini moon, Scorpio rising.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, I love that. That makes sense. That's why we connect so
Like,
well.
also, like you're talking, I'm like, oh, that sounds like me. I was like, wait, what's your signs?
Right.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Mhm,
Wait, so I was actually having this conversation with my mother today because
mhm.
I was like, aliens are real. I had to
Yeah.
like get into that whole conversation with her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know if aliens are real. She ended up like saying, yeah, aliens are for sure real. But she
Right.
was like, it's more like I know some things intervening because when I say I want to do something, it just becomes so easy. It just happens. Like all of a sudden the right person will call me. She goes, I don't even have to make all the calls. Like they're calling me.
Right.
But it's kind of like I just think it's when you're in flow or when you're doing something you're meant to be doing. The universe, God, whatever, makes it so easy for you because you're doing what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. Path of least resistance, right? So it's like if you are constantly, and don't get me wrong, there's sometimes where the obstacles, they're teaching you something that you must learn, right? I know me. I don't know if you feel this way. Now, knowing that we have a very similar chart, I like to learn things the really hard way sometimes, where I'm like, I need to learn that over and over and over again, right? Like, no, let's try that again, right? Um, Once I figure that out, though, and I move forward from it, and I understand the actual meaning of the lesson of you got to stop self-sacrificing. You have to have better boundaries. You need to have a more attuned self love and self embodiment, right? Whatever the lesson actually is, then I'm like, oh, we're back on the path of least resistance.
Mhm.
We're on the fast track. You know what I mean? It's like
Because
the
people.
little walking pads at the airport. You know what
Mhm,
I'm talking
mhm,
about?
mhm.
Like, yeah, like you can be
Oh,
like
well, I still love
dragging,
it. Yeah.
right? Like drag your fucking suitcase if you want to, or get on the path of least resistance. Let's speed it up a little bit, right? Just ask for what you need and hop on. You have the choice. You don't have to hop on. If you want to walk, that's fine. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. People are so scared to hop on. Did you ever?
They're scared. They're scared to hop on.
Oh,
Well,
girl, get on that.
get on. Get on.
Why are you so scared? And it's because they didn't have a mother who worked. They weren't able to see to believe growing up that it was possible. And so for them, it's so unfamiliar that they're like, but what if it doesn't work? And I'm like, no, 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 it does. And they're like, but what if? I'm like, no, 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 we don't play with the what ifs. What
Yeah.
if it
No.
does?
No, thank you. Right. Like I reject that. So another thing too is like I I was mind blown when I first learned this. This was in one of the coaching books that I read at the very beginning when I before I was even taking clients. Is the truth is a lot of people are not scared of failing. They're really scared of success, right?
Mhm.
Didn't understand that in the beginning. I said, why would you be scared of success? You know, who's scared of success? Well, like Icarus, it's like the farther you fly, the harder you can fall. It gets really scary when you start to grow, grow, grow. Your capacity grows, right? The truth is that as long as your mindset's following with you, you're fine,
Mhm.
right? It's like a muscle. You're going to be okay to continue to grow and do those scary things because you're going to consistently continue to grow your self-trust. That's the most
Mhm.
thing is it's not even about how far you grow, it's how much you grow your self-trust. That's the most important thing, right? So I you look at your business, anybody's business, everything could go differently tomorrow, right? You can wake up tomorrow and say, I don't want to do this anymore, but I want to do something different. If you trusted yourself to build a business to six figures, I can almost guarantee you can build another six-figure business, right? It's just because you trust yourself.
100%. I always say the journey with VRD fell into flames tomorrow. I promise you, by next week, this time, I will have another business and you will be seeing me
You'll
again.
see me. You'll see me again, right? You'll
Oh.
see me doing whatever I'm doing. Who knows?
It's, but I will still be like doing better than I am now.
Right.
Okay, for time's sake, a question that I always ask on the podcast is if you were to have a spiritual superpower, like a seventh sense, what would it be? And how does it help you in your business?
Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, well, let me talk about one that I have. How about that? So, I have, since I've started my business, I've noticed that I hear things differently, right? I hear things differently. I understand what you're saying. Some of my clients, sometimes they'll hop on the phone and they immediately are just like, sorry, I'm word vomiting all over the place. I don't know if you're understanding what I'm even saying. And I always say to them, I know exactly what you're saying, right? And I'm not just saying that to them. I truly am following what's going on. In the words that they're saying, we're able to end up exactly where they're needing that day, right? So, clairaudience, that's what that's called, right? It's one of the clairs to be able to actually hear clearly. So, sense I was young, I've been able to hear and be really attuned to what you're actually saying to me. I immediately can tell if you're lying to me. I can tell if there's something underlying. I can tell that if what you're saying to me has more than what you're just saying, right? A lot of people will say, well, I want $1 million. Okay, that's great, right? I believe you. Who doesn't want $1 million? But there's something deeper there that is underlying that you want the $1 million for, right? Or this wouldn't be coming up at all. So it has allowed me to be a really incredible coach and an incredible, honestly, online business owner because I'm able to hear and see things a little bit differently than what is typical. Right. It feels very esoteric, but honestly, it also feels like a skill that can be attuned for anybody. Deeper listening is a skill of reading between the lines that anyone can benefit from, right? Listen deeper. Don't talk the whole entire time. Ask a question and actually listen. Allow there to be space between the question, right? A lot of people like to fill blank space. You stop talking, they want to say something immediately. Allow there to be a moment pause for you to actually listen.
Mm,
Um, so I enjoy that superpower about myself. I like having that one.
I
So,
love this. I love that you shared that. Thank you.
of
Okay.
course.
And if you were able to go for dinner with
Mhm.
anybody dead or alive, fictional or real, who would it be with? What would you eat? And what is a burning question you'd ask them?
Jane Austen. I
Oh,
love Pride and Prejudice. It is one of those books and movies that it's just like, I'm obsessed, right? The reason I'm obsessed is because she wrote it when she was so young and it reads that way, right? If you really look at it critically, you're like, this book is so jovial. It is fun. It is all over the place. It's like she's just writing essentially like a journal, right? But it's also really extremely well written, but it feels really fun and it flows really well, right? Um, and growing up in that time, I can't imagine. I mean, how different it was. You know what I mean? We grew up in the age of technology and the internet, and everybody knows everything that's going on with each other and with the world. To feel so inspired by your own life, what a gift. You know what I mean? So to be able to ask her that and have that question, um, and probably eat something that she would eat. You know what I mean? I don't know why, like some sort of pie, like a shepherd's pie comes to mind. You know what I
oh,
mean?
yes.
Something cozy and something fun and have a conversation about how it felt like being so inspired by her own life. To tell me about how she was able to create these incredible stories from her own imagination. You know what I mean? Because what a gift.
Well, end off. I have two last questions for you. One is, what is one societal norm you had to reprogram or break in order to get to where you are now?
Ooh, okay. So I don't know if it's a societal norm, but like when I was growing up, I went to school. I went to a private school, right? A Christian school. So I was very much, yeah, everybody gets to believe whatever they believe, but I felt very indoctrinated into this belief system, right? It was a very radical Christianity group too. So it was difficult growing up. And I went to school from preschool to eighth grade through that school system, right? And so to rework some of that religious trauma of, because I'm divorced, right? And I got married really young at 18. This is something that was kind of not taught. You don't need to get married young, but if you are going to get married, you get married once, right? I believed I would essentially be scorned because I was getting a divorce. I thought I was going to be, I don't know, never loved again. You know what I mean? It was really difficult for me to understand that self love, self acceptance, self forgiveness, these are gifts, right? Um, and we are creating our reality, right? And so, if we're creating our reality, what we believe is going to feel and be true in our reality. If I would have continued to believe what was taught to me, I would have never found the husband that I have now. I would never feel as happy as I do now, right? And I would never be able to self express the way that I do. to be honest with you. I've helped a lot of women heal from their religious trauma too. That was a lot of the work that I did in my self embodiment and self love coaching, to be honest. They just found me. I don't know how. It was just magic. You know what I mean? But to be able to help other women feel complete and whole, right? Where we don't need to follow an old mindset that might not align with us is the biggest thing, right? For some people, that might feel true, but for some women, it feels really constricting, right? So that was very important for me to learn. Was very eye-opening and also very freeing.
It sounds like it.
Mhm.
Sounds like it. I feel like with freedom comes responsibility, as you all know, but once that responsibility, I always like to compare freedom and responsibility from a four wheel bike to a two-wheeler. The four wheel is like you not having that freedom. You
Mhm.
see all the bigger kids, the bigger people on the two-wheeler bike, and all you want is that two-wheeler bike. And when you
Yes.
finally get one, you fall on the floor. And you're like, what the actual fuck? I have these scrapes and boo-boos and whatever.
Yep.
And then you realize, okay, there's a certain way to ride it. And once you learn that way, the freedom of the two-wheeler is so freeing and it's fun. And maybe you even want to go learn how to do tricks on that bike.
Mhm.
But that's what I feel like shifting from not having the freedom to having the freedom is like. Because once my clients do start making the money, they get scared,
Mhm.
right? It's like, how do I handle this? How do I pay my taxes? How do I do all these things, right?
Totally. Totally.
Then you learn it and then you're like, okay, this is fucking awesome. Now I want more, you know?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's so true.
I love that you brought up about like with your husband that you're allowed to want more in all areas of your life. I think that was so important.
Mhm. In all areas of my life, right? Like, thank you more, please. Thank you more. I want more. I like more. I want more, right? And I'm allowed to want more.
How's
That's something too. It's like the ability to actually receive without feeling like you're going to consistently get rejected is such a gift, right? Because people are allowed to say no, right?
Mhm.
You're allowed to say no whenever you want, but you can trust that if the people around you want what's best for you and you ask for something that you want, and it's aligned, you're most likely going to get it,
Yes,
right? So the problem is a lot of people don't even ask.
that's very true.
Yep. A lot of unfulfilled people live that way where they do not ask for what they want because you're scared. I get it. Rejection never feels good. But also, if we don't personalize everything, it's a lot easier. When someone says no, it's really not that big of a deal.
Not a big a deal. It's not that big of a deal.
Mm-mm.
Okay, last question, because I know we're on a time crunch. If there's somebody listening to you right now that really is connecting with you and wants to work with you,
Mhm.
how would they find you?
Ooh, you can find me. I would say go to my Instagram, to be honest. Conscious Creative Collective. That's send me a message, right? You listening to this podcast, you probably see I'm very relaxed. I love to have conversations, and also you're allowed to ask me anything. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm an open book, and also I'm happy to, I feel very well resourced, if that makes sense. I know a lot of people and I know a lot of things. So if you have questions, you can ask me, and I can probably either give you an answer, point you in the right direction, or we can work on it together, right?
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Of course, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me. This was so fun. What a great conversation. I can't wait for your audience to get to listen. And I just loved your questions. Thank you.
Hey, if you like this podcast episode, please download it, give us a nice review, and follow us on Instagram at Journey with VRD to get all the latest and the greatest updates. Till next week.